All right. This is just a short video explaining how to complete part two. So I just want to make something clear. So part two is not distributing your survey. That's still really part of part one. When you get to part two, that's the point where you close your survey, you download your data, and then you're ready to sort of start analyzing the data. So I'm going to show you how to do that, how to close your survey, how to download your data, how to save the file that you get from Google Forms into an Excel file. And then I'm going to show you, I'm going to talk about part two in the project instructions. And also I'm going to show you what the sample paper should look like. So your part two will be the beginning of your paper, your cover page, the data collection section. Your reference should be updated with obviously your data set. And that's pretty much it. So hopefully I can knock this out in a relatively short time. So let me just go to the instructions for part two. So here it says that you have to submit this part in APA format. So you have to use the sample paper that I'm going to show you in a few minutes. Part of the little piece that you're going to write is just a paragraph. You're going to have to tell me, how did you collect the data? And so that includes that you shared your link in the discussion post. You shared your link on Facebook, on Snapchat, on Instagram. You emailed it to families and friends and things like that. You have to describe how you chose your participants. Obviously, for most of you, if not all of you, it's going to be a convenient sample, so it's going to be fairly easy. You're going to have to answer, do you think your sample is representative of the general population? So remember, your sample, your survey is a sample. And we in statistics or data science, we actually collect a sample to try to make inferences about a larger population. So obviously, your larger population is all of the adults or participants, if you will, because some of you guys might be dual enrolled in the United States. And so is your sample representative of the general population? I also need your raw data, and so I'm going to show you how to save that as an Excel file and submit that in the Dropbox. And that's pretty much it. So it's due September. It says in this one that it's the due date. That might change depending on some feedback from you guys. So if some of you guys feel like you need a few extra days to collect some more data, then that's okay. So let me go to this here. So this is just a sample survey, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just close this sample survey. So if I click on responses, the first thing that I have to do, if this was still open because you're still collecting data up to this point, you want to close this, and so it's no longer accepting responses. Also, some of you guys are answering each other's questions, especially when you submit your survey if there's an issue. So make sure that when you submit your link that you're actually going back at least every day to just double check to make sure there are no issues with your survey, because your participants are the ones that are going to see the issues that you have. All right, so the next thing that you want to do is you want to download your responses, right? Excuse me, you close your survey off. And so there's two ways that you can do this. If I click on here, you see that it says create spreadsheet. I can also click here and I'm going to download it as a .csv. And so a .csv it's sort of like an Excel file, but the file extension is slightly different. And there are some differences, obviously. And so either one, we can download it from a Google form. Now, if I click on this one, it's going to create a Google Doc spreadsheet. I still have to save it as an Excel file, so you're welcome to do that one. And if I click on this here, it's just going to tell me, create a new spreadsheet. Or I can say select existing spreadsheet. And so what's going to happen is that, let me see, hold on a second, let me go back. All right, right there. And when it does that, it's going to open this file right here, right? And so what I can do with this at this point in time, let me move this. No, wait. Okay, it's not there. What I can do with this now is I can actually save it as an Excel file. So if I click on this, I want to download it. I download it as an Excel file. When I click on that, this is what you want. You want an Excel file. Now, at this point in time, this is your raw data, right? So if you look at the instructions, it says submit your raw data. This is your raw data. This doesn't have anything. Let me clean this up a little bit here. So what you have to do at this point in time, once you download this file, oops, sorry, it's kind of weird. I don't need the timestamp. The timestamp just doesn't really give you any information other than when did this participant complete this or access this survey. So you just want to go ahead and just delete it. Now, this is already an Excel file, and you can see that each one of these columns is one of my variables that I collected, right? These are basically the questions that I asked. Each row is an individual participant and their responses to the questions. And so that's your raw data. This you submit to me separate from your paper. Now, let's go to the paper portion. This is what the sample paper looks like. Now, Mrs. Coppola created some videos that sort of explain some of these things. So if you're not sure, I suggest you go in there and watch them. You can also reach out to her through Canvas, and she'll, get back to you as soon as possible. So you have to have your running head, and the running head can be the title. That's the title of your paper. And so here goes the title of your paper, right? Here's your name, and this is a nice template that all you have to do is change the things that are not yours into what's yours. And so your cover page has to be there. And then of course here, this is the intro. So I don't need that right now. What I need from you for part 2 is just the data collection section. That's it. That's all I need for part 2. Now, this particular student really spent a lot of time writing these sections. And to be honest with you, you can read her paper and you can see that it's actually pretty, it explains everything really well. You don't have to make it that long because it's your paper. So, you can explain things in 1 paragraph where someone else might need 2 paragraphs. And that's okay. You just have to make sure that you answer the questions that the instructions are asking you. So is your sample representative of the population? Why or why not? It's how did you collect your data? How did you choose your participants? All those things have to be explained. And so if it takes you 1 paragraph or 2, that's okay. If it takes you 3 or 4, like it did this student, that's also okay. Now, one of the things that I want to be clear about academic writing is that it's really dry and to the point. It's not creative nonfiction, so you're not writing a book. You're just explaining what is, and so just get to the point and move on, right? Once you do this, now you do have to be careful. Let me see if I can go over here real quick. Is that you don't want, and this is the library module. This is where you can get any questions. She does have some really good videos in there. If you don't find the answer to your question, you just reach out to her. The sample paper is a Word document. And so you are welcome to delete the sections that don't pertain to you. Now, leave the headings to the subsections, right? So these are the main sections. Leave those headings. Just get rid of this, right? Get rid of this because this does not pertain to you. Now, so again, the main subsections that you're welcome to leave in your paper are the ones that are the parts of your paper, like part 2, part 3, part 4, and things like that. Let me see if I can scroll down here real quick. Like this is another section, right? This is, I believe it's part 4 of your paper. And so obviously this is not yours. So please, when you submit part 2, when it's done, there should be nothing written in any of the other sections other than under the data collection, and then of course in the reference page. And the reference page should just reference your data set, and I believe our data set is right here. Right? That's it. Nothing else. Now, if you do choose something from the textbook or the PowerPoint or a video that I have created, then you do have to sort of give credit for that. But some of the things are just well-known facts, and you don't really have to cite that. And a well-known fact would be, George Washington was the first president. You don't have to cite that because it's a known fact. And that's pretty much it for this video. If you have any questions or any doubts, please either use the FAQ or reach out to me, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you.